Everyone, welcome to the week 7, that's episode 7 of Solving Gender Inequality using Blockchain, and it's brought to you by CoinUsExtra, proudly anchored and sponsored and um, moderated by Rebeca Fernandez. Rebecca, you're welcome to CoinUsExtra.
Thank you, Lee. Hi, everyone who is watching Coin News Extra. As Lee will mention, we are on the seventh program of solving gender inequality by using blockchain technology. And today I want to welcome a very special guest. Her name is Patricia Gestoso Suoto. Hi, Patricia. How are you today?
I'm very well. Thank you, Rebecca, and the CoinU Extra team for the invitation today.
It is really a pleasure, and we are looking forward to our conversation, especially because we know that the title is Solving Gender Inequality by Using Blockchain Technology, but you would like to touch base about a specific question which is very relevant, and is what is keeping women out of the leadership position in technology, the good, the bad, and the ugly. But before we get started, Patricia, I would like to, if you can share to the viewers who you are. I know that you are the head, the global head of scientific and technical customer support in Viova, but I know there is more work that you are doing around gender inequality, and it will be great if you can explain to us.
Thank you very much, Rebecca. Indeed, I'm head of scientific and technical support for Biovia. That is a brand of Dassault Systems. That is the second largest software company in Europe. I've been working on my career. My background is STEM, chemical engineering, and I work all my career in modeling, simulation, and in the last 15 years I've been working in tech. I've also have deep expertise in operations as well as acquisition integrations. And as you said, in the last 5 years, I focused a lot of my work into further gender equity at the workplace. So I founded our first employee resource group for that purpose. And we have had great wins. We have improved the maternity leave, the paternity leave, and also we run several, lobby for several programs in that area. We've been named actually Women in Tech UK Changemakers this year. And I've also collaborated with other communities. And in the last 2 years, I've been focusing as well quite a lot into the area of products and services to ensure that they are ethical and inclusive, and in particular when we look at, for example, artificial intelligence, so to ensure that it does work for all.
Wow, that's a really, that's a really pleasure to have you here, Patricia, because I knew that you are working very hard in gender inequality, and your work is very needed, and it is a really great pleasure to have you here. So following the title of today's title, which is what is keeping women out of the leadership position in technology, can you please elaborate on the good, the bad, and the ugly of this statement that you want to raise?
Okay, so first of all, I've worked in tech for 15 years, so I want to clarify I'm pro-tech. Okay, I do believe in the potential of tech to drive diversity and inclusion, and actually the fact, your business idea about using blockchain for increasing transparency and that to drive diversity and inclusion in the workplace is the perfect example. However, that I see it as the future, because for me, the lack of women, and you can say other, minorities in leadership positions, is just the symptom of a systemic problem. Okay, this is not like something we can solve with a vaccine. And I think that is critical. And this is why it becomes the ugly, because when we have systemic problems, what actually have is a large number of factors that contribute, some of them negatively, some of them positively. So just by looking at one, you cannot say, oh, victory, I just solved it. And usually they are ingrained in root beliefs. And that is very difficult to change beliefs. And there are three beliefs I particularly think are at core of what explain the situation we have in tech. Is the first one is that we call ourselves meritocratic. So when you already assume that the people at the top are there because they are, they are the best, you are basically saying, if we have women and minorities at the bottom, it's because they deserve it. It's because they don't have the skills. It's because it's very difficult to tackle. Then we have the patriarchy, because when we see from the very beginning, tech has had this belief that we have this perfect because I don't think this is working for all men either. It's a very monolithic view of what masculinity is. So already you are saying, men are better than women, and you see it in the pay gap. When we started with computers, men were doing hardware and women software. And then when the money started to be in software, men switched to software, and the salaries too. Okay, so that's a hard one. And the third one is exceptionality. We believe, for example, when you look how pharma ship drugs, or even your supermarket, all the boxes they need to tick to actually sell products and their responsibility. You don't go, to your supermarket, then you feel, and this is, oh, we are a platform. We didn't produce the meat, so we don't have anything to do with that. But however, in tech, we say that. We say, actually, we are just a platform. We are not responsible for this or this or that. So I think those three root beliefs are really what make it ugly. Then coming back to the bad is because the way we traditionally have looked at this. We have, again, going straight to the point, I will see, for example, the first one is that we believe we need to fix women. Okay? If we give them a course here, if their voice is, more powerful, if they behave in another way, then we will fix it. The other thing is, again, point solutions. To think that because we are running unconscious bias training, this is going to solve it. Okay? And the third one is the fact that the belief that a lot of people have that this is going to solve itself, that we just have to give it time and suddenly things will fix themselves. And to go to the good, because I do believe that tech can galvanize actually diversity and inclusion, is the first one. I think that is inherent to tech. If we do good, we can scale that good. And that means it's regarding data, because in other industries, they can say, oh, but I don't have that data. But in tech, you are accountable, you have the data. Then as well, the other thing is that tech has very well-paid jobs. So if we are able to move women and minorities along in the chain, we are going to create wealth for the whole planet. And then another point is I'm very invigorated by the creation of women in tech communities and female founders communities, and also communities that, for example, look into women of color in tech. So really, that community and networking that I didn't see when I started in tech. And the third one is solutions like yours that really look into using tech to provide transparency, because I think transparency is key.
Yes, thanks for that, Patricia. I think you make a very good point at the beginning. It is systemic. It's a systemic problem. And therefore, our call is that technologies like blockchain could really change the way that we organize and recalibrate this systemic problem that we have. And I fully agree with that. And it's something that we need to embrace. So I really like the three ways that you describe it, in the good, the bad, and the ugly. And it is very well. Thank you. So most of the people is of the opinion that the problem of the lack of female leadership in tech is that youngest women, or little kids don't go to what we call STEME, which is science, technology, engineering, and maths careers. Mm-hmm. What are your beliefs on this, Patricia?
I think, again, we are blaming the victim.
Yes.
Okay? We could go on forever, but I will summarize it in three key points. Mm-hmm. One, we keep bombarding young women about the need to code by itself. I agree that could, be great and resonate for a lot of young women and men, but I think we need to engage people on the problems they want to solve. I think that we tell women, you need to code. And I think that we are missing why what is the engage them on, what is the problem you have where technology can help you. Again, with blockchain in your solution, you are not just doing blockchain. Exactly. Blockchain is the means to achieve a goal. And I think this is a lot more engaging for the young women I meet. When you tell them about this, okay, what is the pain point? And then, okay, is technology the best way? Okay, maybe then, code is what you want to do, or product management, or, there are also tech is not monolithic. It's not just women coding. There is just so many careers. So that is one. The other one is, I think we want to solve this problem by diversity and not by inclusion. So we expect young women like, come, because when you come, the system will heal itself. And, I see it a little bit like when you invite somebody to your home and you keep telling them, oh, you need to come home. Come, please, you need to visit me. So after a lot of effort, the person comes, travels to your home, they arrive to your home, and you tell them, oh yeah, but, actually, you can be here, but I don't have a bed for you. I don't have food for you. So we need first to create an inclusive environment. And then that will appeal women, young women, and as well men, and, and of course, along all the range of gender I'm talking about. And the third one is, I don't think we prepare women for the roadblocks they are going to have. We give them technical skills, but I think it's a little bit like telling, people going to the Everest and just tell them, okay, take this bottle of water and just move. Okay, I think that we need to do a lot more work as well to prepare those young women within the university. I was For example, this weekend there was a movie called Picture a Scientist that actually was broadcasted by the 500 women scientists group. And you see the harassment within academia, okay? And it's things that people don't talk about. So I think we need to, again, be transparent, talk about, how you negotiate, how you look at your package. And, then those women will be able, but I think we are a little bit afraid that they won't get into the challenge. So we just want to pick, to talk about tech and communication skills. So I think to have those kind of conversations will help us to retain the women we have.
Yes, that's a very good point, because you touch base on something very true. It's like it's not the same to be diverse than being inclusive, and that's a thing that the companies, organizations, everyone in the world needs to take that into account. That yes, let's bring women to our organization, but are you inclusive in your organizations? I had a very good discussion the other day with a company that they measure actually inclusive organizations, and it is all about behaviors, is what you was mentioning before. So we need to really, I guess, make that into account and go to the root cause, which we know is a systemic, we all know that it's a systemic problem, but no one seems to fix it. So I know that you are leading a project to measure the impact of COVID on professional women. Can you share some highlights on this?
Yeah, sure. First of all, I want to acknowledge that most of the women that I'll be talking about are white. I live in US or Europe, okay, because of how it was conducted. So I want to be very transparent about the limitations. So I'll give you a little bit more of context. In April, I launched with the Global Professional Women Network a survey to gather the impact of COVID-19, of the lockdown in particular, in the unpaid work of professional women. Okay, so basically what we wanted was to reach out to professional women and tell them, okay, tell us how much time you are spending now in household chores, in schooling or nursing and caregiving, and also tell us how much you were doing it last year, so we understand. Mm-hmm. Also, we asked them, okay, if you are experimenting more work now, unpaid work during COVID, tell us how that extra work is divided with your partner. And most of our respondents also said they were heterosexual. So again, for transparency's sake. And then we asked them, what about your leisure time now and before? So there is, what we found, we got 1,300 answers, mainly in US and 6 countries in Europe, UK, France, Italy, Spain, Norway, and Slovenia, which actually they have in April, they were in a very different stages of the lockdown. Okay. And what we saw was the patterns of basically women performing more unpaid work, also at levels that was amazing. It's more like 40 hours on top of what they do.
Wow.
Okay, a week. Yeah. And not all, and we thought, before launching it, that it would be more part-time and self-employed women. But actually, we were shocked about full-time employees, how they peel hours of unpaid work, and even at the top of the career ladder. So we we even added an open question that it was so rebellion, because we have been saying basically like that in capital letters, I'm burned out.
Wow.
And saying, I'm the CEO of my company, and but I'm working from home. So at the same time, I'm the CEO of my company. I'm schooling my kids. I'm taking care of maybe my in-laws or my parents, and I'm also doing the household chores. So I am really looking at that. I do see that at least we will lose one generation of women leaders, because COVID has not finished. We still, we are seeing it in Europe, not because September arrived, things have changed massively. We, for example, we see that kids go to the school, okay, but then they get a little bit of fever, or another kid gets a little bit of fever, and then you have to do tests. So then you have to take maybe a day off to go and travel where the test lab is. So we are working. We have the draft of the report, and it will be available. We are hoping at the end of this month. And my concern really is that we confuse flexibility with elasticity. Because I see a lot of companies saying, but we have flexible working. But flexible working doesn't mean that parents and caregivers have to do 8 hours and then 8 hours of cleaning and then 8 hours of schooling, because the time is still 24 hours. So we need to get into that conversation, because COVID, we don't have the COVID button where we press and say this over. So as you can see, I'm very passionate about this work, because I'm really concerned we will lose really generations of women leaders that will either leave their work, and then actually that will decrease their financial stability, because they will be dependent of their partners, but or that they have, they will step to. But see, let me be clear, I don't have anything against about part-time, or the opposite. But I think when it's a choice, this is what women want to do, not when they are forced, because they are, they are expected to do everything and basically perform for everything that the governments and the society cannot provide.
Yes, that's a really good point, and it's very scary what you mentioned, that you are envisioning that we are going to lose at least one generation of women leaders. That's very, very scary, and it's a factor that we really need to take that into account. And actually, we are envisioning what with blockchain we can actually capture this non-pay work, not for making the companies to pay for our time spent out of the office, a salary, but at least to track the time spent of a woman in this case in work that is out of the workplace. So to make a difference, really, to create awareness of the importance of this.
Absolutely. And actually, just to add to that, first, we calculated the average. Again, this is a ballpark, okay, from the respondents we had, how much money women were actually missing in unpaid work by using the base salaries in UK for caregivers, and as well, for cleaners and so on. And what the average a professional woman loses is a little bit more of 500 euros a month. And with COVID, it's more than 1,000 euros.
Wow.
So imagine 1,000 euros a month that you are giving away, but not only you don't have the money now, but you are not able to pay into, for example, your pension. That money is just, it evaporates. So that is very important. And actually, this is the reason why I created in my website what I call the fair care tracker to help women. Basically, it's absolutely free. And the idea is that actually you can add how many hours you spend every day.
Okay.
And you can add there, the salary. You can put, depending on the country, the salary. And that can have, for example, somebody that cleans or a teacher. And, just to give an idea and say, this is how much money I'm not getting paid.
Yes, because it's very important to create awareness. That's I think that's something that is very key, and then you making that possible, and that's, I guess, the first step. I know it's slow, but the first step is to create awareness. Before we close, another question, Patricia, because I know that you are very active advocate of making ethical and inclusive products.
Yeah, sure. I think, again, that the problem is that we are a little bit lazy with complexity. We like simple things. So we like to put diversity and inclusion like this is an HR thing, and this is the workplace. And then diversity and inclusion for products. Oh, this is a product management thing. They will see it with the users. And then we look at customer service and said, oh, this is customer support. So I think we need to understand, as companies, for example, what is our mission? What is our purpose? And coming from there, to me, is natural that if we want customers to have this experience in which they feel included in the services that we deliver, the products, to produce that, we need teams that are diverse and inclusive. And the problem we have, for example, with AI is just one example, is that it's not that people that code wake up in the morning and say, I want to create an artificial intelligence algorithm that actually hates women. Or they woke up in the morning and said, oh, let's do an algorithm that is racist. No, you talk to them, and most of them want to do products that everybody can enjoy, that they can really change the world for the good, for the better. But because we do have a very limited, our workforce is so limited in terms of diversity, so that what we have is products and services that only cater to a very small part. And for the ethics, again, we have just a very small group of people that decides what is good and what are the risks. So in the last 2 years, I've really been very vocal at getting educated myself, and as well help to create and to discuss frameworks so that help us to make inclusive and ethical products the default. It's hard because diversity and inclusion and ethics are hard, but how we can remove a little bit of the friction. And now I'm actually a part of the advisory role of an NGO called, charity called We and AI, that actually what looks is into the educating people about what is artificial intelligence and see what are the positives that bring, but as well to explain people, and make them aware of all the issues. So that's, I don't believe it is separate. I think it's really within my holistic view of diversity and inclusion.
Yes, that's very true. And in my belief, or in my call is also about human bias. And as you mentioned, no one wants to make, or at least I guess almost everyone, because there's an exception, unfortunately, they want to put an algorithm or to create an algorithm that is against women. But we know that they are created by humans, so it could be also some unconscious thinking there. So I think it's also a culture change that it requires time. You said it's complex, but I think with people like you, Patricia, that is taking the right steps and working very hard, I think it's possible to make a change. Thank you.
Thank you very much for inviting me. I really enjoy this conversation, and I'm really looking forward to your solution, because I think we really need people that are game changers. We need everybody to do to bring innovative ideas, because it is a hard problem.
Yeah, it's a hard one. Thank you. Do you want to say something else before we close, Patricia?
I want to invite the audience to connect with me. I'm in LinkedIn. I also have my website on diversity and inclusion. And I love to learn about you if you are involved in systemic change. I'm always looking for collaborations, and I'll be happy to have a discussion how we all can improve the world.
Thank you, Patricia. So yeah, we are collaborating in this together. And as Patricia mentioned, if someone wants to reach Patricia, please do so. Coin News Extra will leave all the details in LinkedIn and Facebook and all the social media. And thank you so much, Patricia. I have really enjoyed our conversation. And for all the viewers, I will be again on my 8th program on Coin News Extra on the 1st of October. See you all there. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Patricia.
Okay, thank you very, very much. This has been a very insightful and wonderful conversation. Thank you, Rebecca. The next episode is on the 1st of October, which happens to be the day Nigeria is celebrating its independence, and that's the 60th year for Nigeria. Interesting. Thank you, Patricia, also for coming today. Thank you, for audience. We also thank you for joining us today, and we are expecting you to join us, as she said, on the 1st of October for another wonderful episode. Thank you very much.